Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
Welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For our radio audience tuning in at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all can be with us. Also joining us online worldwide via our podcast at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music. We're glad you all could be with us as well. I was just saying to our next guest, I remember her from our conversation we had 3 years ago, which is crazy to think it's been that long. We're excited to welcome back bestselling author Maureen Johnson to our broadcast. 3 years ago, we were discussing her bestselling book, Hello, Cruel Heart, a great book for those who are fans of Cruella. Now she's out with another bestseller, Death at Mourning House. We're going to talk to Maureen not only about the fun she's been able to have of bringing these different stories to life, but also the connections her readers are having with her from book to book as well. If you guys have not picked up the new book, we'll let you know how to be able to get it and stay connected with Maureen. Maureen, thanks again for spending some time with us. Really appreciate it.
Yes, we last spoke when we were in quarantine.
Yeah. Crazy times, right? Well, we're still living in crazy times, Maureen, but that's
we sure are.
Story.
We sure are.
Maureen, I was so excited about this book. Congratulations. Yeah, exactly right. We will always have books. I really enjoyed Death at Mourning House, and this is another fun one, but I love the fact that you're able to kind of, really show personalities in so many different ways. We're going to dive into that a little bit. But what has this been like for you from book to book, Maureen, to be able to not only to enjoy this writing process for yourself, but to have your readers enjoy it as well?
Well, I've been writing YA for a long time, and so this is my... I sometimes don't know how to count them, but 15th, 16th book, and you have to invent. I have a series called the Phoebe Bell Mysteries, there are 5 of those. It's really devious books, and then I came back with this one to do I wanted to do a standalone mystery, a one and done, single case, single story, and it's like, every time you go to write a book, you're like, okay, I have to learn how to write this book. Time to create another world, time to create another. It's always interesting when you look at the pile of, it's sort of like you're building a set or, you're building a story. You're like, okay, I'm going to make a thing. I get to choose whatever tools I want. So It's exciting.
Yeah. And I think with this particular book, it really does show, I think, the power of the past. But how also, of course, we all are kind of interconnected. So where did the idea for Death at Mourning House, how did it kind of come to you?
Well, I always start mysteries with a why, because a murder is a big deal. Even though mystery books have a kind of lighthearted, like, oh, it's a mystery, it's a big deal. You have to figure out why somebody would do something. From there, I build out the why and the who. But I think that I've always been a mystery person. As a kid, I was a big mystery. I've always also been a history person. And I think these things go hand in hand, because mysteries are all about rolling back and looking back. It doesn't really matter if it's an hour, a day, or 100 years. There's more and different types of work to be done, but it's all about going to the past and saying, how did we get from there to here? Why did these things happen? And it's the same thing in studying history, and part of what Death at Mourning House is about is we sometimes don't want to look at our history. We don't want to actually face, like, here's what really happened. Here's the reality of the thing. Here's the thing we don't want to look at.
That is such a great point. And what you don't shy away from, Maureen, which I appreciate, I have to say, as a reader I read a lot of different books for a lot of different age groups, and that I think can even get murky in itself when we start talking about what books are appropriate for what age. But for you, even though we would categorize this as it is, as a book that teens would enjoy, this is a book that I think adults would really appreciate, and myself being one, because it really does show, for one, the power of secrets, but also the danger of secrets, right? And how the past, if you're not careful, can come back to consume you. I want to ask you about that, because even though you may not think of yourself as being a generational author per se, what has it been like for you to know that you're writing something that connects with so many different audiences?
That's always been the case with YA, because all that YA is, because people sometimes wonder reasonably, like, what is young adult? all that really means is the age of the main character. It doesn't, and it's how it's a marketing category. But that's it. That's why, you have readers who are 12, but you also have readers who are 90. And all of YA has, my whole reading, and writing, that whole writing life has always been like that. I've always had adult readers because these are just novels. They just have younger main characters who are often doing things for the first time. And you don't ever have to shy away from any level of people have a very mistaken idea of what, teenagers can handle. I'm like, you are wildly misreading the situation if you think that they're, these are novels. These are novels. They just have younger main characters.
Right. Which brings us to, I wanted to kind of set that up before I talked about Marlowe, because I think Marlowe is a character that so many people can relate to. Talk to us about Marlowe, because we do see, not to give anything away, I'll talk around it, Maureen, we do see kind of an evolution and growth of Marlowe throughout the book, right? How did Marlowe kind of come to you?
Well, the Stevie Bell mysteries are about a detective who wants to be a detective. Marlowe has no interest in being a detective. It's not something that has ever occurred to her as would be happening in her life. She is a high school student. She's a romantic. She's been in love all throughout high school, and now she gets to go on a date with the person she has loved through all of high school. She's romantic, but she's also overeager and kind of bad at it. She throws herself into things and makes a lot of mistakes. And is very kind of self-deprecating, but kind of keeps rolling on. I like the idea of this, someone who's kind of romantic but bad at love was sort of how I wanted to play her. I wanted her to be funny. I wanted her to be, someone who is not suave. She is not suave. She is deeply unsuave. But she finds herself in this situation where because she is smart, and she's a quick learner, which is part of the reason she got this job. They needed someone to take over a tour guide position, and she's a fast learner. They're like, you're a fast learner, you can have the job. She's observant. She's a quick learner, and she realizes as an outsider in this group that something is very wrong. But I think she really wants to avoid it, and quite sensibly would like to run from danger. Whenever characters in books run towards danger, I laugh. I run away from danger. Every time I'm going to run away from danger, 100% of the time.
Yeah. And I find it so interesting hearing you talk about Marlowe, because I think the thing that gets me is, like you said, she may not have had an interest, but because of circumstances, I'll put it that way, that interest develops itself, trying to figure out exactly what's happening. And Marlowe is joined by other characters as well, one being Ricky. And I think, for readers, as we're kind of going throughout the book, we're trying to figure out, not only, of course, what is happening, but also, what's going to happen, especially when it comes to Marlowe. You said something that I have to go back to, Maureen, because I'm sure that readers will probably end up challenging you on this. You said that you wanted to write a standalone, a one and done. When you finished Death at Morning House, did you still feel like that was what this was? Yes,
definitely, I do. Yes, I don't think that she is. This is this story. Yeah, so this one is a standalone.
Okay. So we won't see her again.
Well, to my knowledge, I don't. It's nothing. Yeah, I'm writing more Stevie Bells. I've killed her. She said, it's just, I'm burning the world down. No, as far as I know, I think this is the intention of this book is to be a standalone and not have any other.
Okay.
It is a story told in one.
Yeah, I have to ask these questions.
No, not at all. I mean, I'm very happy. I'm very happy to be asked.
Well, I guess,
what am I going to have to do?
Yeah, well, I guess what the reason why I thought about that, and again, I'll talk around it. We'll talk broader. I'll say it that way. Is that I wonder what else there is to discover, and I wonder the role that Marlowe could play in that, in helping others discover other things. That's what was my thought. But I guess it's part of the fun, too, of readers, and their own imaginations, too, as to what happens to these characters afterwards. Last thing I want to talk to you about, Maureen, are your readers and your community. As you mentioned, when we had our last conversation, the world was different. Now you're able to be out there and about meeting your readers again. Talk to us about that experience, what that's been like for you to not only to have the interchange with them, but you also have been able to have interchange with your peers. What has that experience been like?
Well, I'll tell you, not for nothing. I went on my first book tour the January of, what year is it? Do you know what year it is? I guess it was early 2023. I think we're in 2024 now. I'm not sure. And I got COVID on that tour for the first time.
Oh, wow.
And I ended up, the tour got derailed, and I isolated in San Luis Obispo, California, in a hotel room, and that tour got derailed. And in this case, I was about to go on tour last Tuesday, and I got COVID 3 days before the tour. So from what I can see, COVID is really trying to send me personally a message that says, stop going on tour, or I will come for you. So, but I am resuming my tour. That we're kind of reassembling it, and I'm going to be doing some makeup dates. But it is starting to feel, look, I'm not saying I'm not so egotistical as to think the universe sends me personal messages, but at the same time, I do think you should maybe read the signs.
That's why we need Marlo. See? That's why we need her.
Yeah, I know. It's just, it's like, I feel like the world's like, what do we have to do to tell you not to go on tour? Drop a piano on you? Like, what do you stop with this? But I'm going. I'm still going. I'm still doing the U.S. tour this week and then a U.K. tour for this as well, back to back. So.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Go.
Well, congratulations,
yeah.
Maureen. It's so good to be able to catch back up with you, and I'm so glad that we had a chance to speak again. And again, everyone, bestselling author Maureen Johnson has been our guest. Death at Morning House is a new book. Please, through our friends at Amazon.com or through your favorite local bookstore. If they don't have it, I know they'd be more than happy to order it for you. Maureen, how can our audience stay connected with you and the saga that is your book tour and everything else?
You can go to MaureenJohnson.com. I'm on Instagram at Maureen Johnson Books. I am on Twitter at Maureen Johnson. And also a brand new squeaky baby TikTok that is Maureen Johnson Books.
Awesome. Well, Maureen, congratulations to you again. Thank you again for spending some time with us, and looking forward to our next chat together.
Thank you so much. Good to talk to you again.
Oh, definitely. I feel the same way. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.